All right, last section before we get to networking and a little bit of snacks. We don't have full like a meal here because in the welcome reception, you guys will get all the, meals and snacks and stuff like that. But we do have drinks, beer and wine coming in and then food. But let's talk about finance. This is the last section. In my mind, I believe this is the most important section. And for independent hoteliers, I know it's tough, right? So the first thing I would like to do is if you guys could spend a little bit of time introducing yourself, please, that'd be great.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jin Laxmidas. I'm from Houston, Texas. Amzam Global is my company. We're a developer of independent hotels primarily, and I serve on the board of the Small Independent Motel Owners Association. So this bad boy right here, you can win that today. Sign up. What we're going to be doing is taking your information, putting it into our independent hotelier database at AAHOA, and then sending some of this information to you guys and bringing you more seminars as we go along throughout the year. So I also serve on the Texas Lodging Association board, so I bring a unique perspective for independent hoteliers, having developed many in the Houston area.
Jin also sits on our independent hoteliers committee for AAHOA as well. Should be on.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Prajesh Patel. I am the founder and CEO of Creative Lending Solutions. Founded the firm back in 2003, and we're one of the larger, at least in the Midwest, independent lenders for hospitality hotels across the nation. And I'm glad to be here.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dave Shaw. We're with Pineapple Capital Group. I'm the managing director based out of Atlanta, Georgia. Our firm sources a lot of different forms of hotel capital for hoteliers, starting from SBA, conventional, non-recourse, construction lending, all types of various capital that we try to bring to our community members. We've been doing it for about 8 years, and we really appreciate AAHOA's support. Thank you so much.
Hey. Good job, guys. I'm going to start this, if it's okay with you, gentlemen, I'm going to start this a little bit different. I'm going to start with audience questions. What about that? Yeah? Let's start off with that first. Let's mix it up a little bit. I know you guys have been here for 3 hours, good Lord. So does anybody have any questions for these finance people? If not, I'm going to start with my questions. Okay. Oh, Ms. Brandy.
What are your best tips or ideas for financing small independent properties? So say if you're under 40 rooms and you're not a $5 million wonderful, fantastic hotel, you want to start out, how would you get financing for something like that?
Sounds like you want to grow.
Maybe.
Anybody?
Sure. Very good question. If it's a smaller piece of debt for kind of a, boutique or independent hotel, which is kind of what the audience is kind of, framing here. A lot of times, SBA is a fantastic vehicle. 7A, it's a quick, in and out type deal. 3-year prepay, which is what I love about it. A lot of people get caught up with the other fixed rate options, which are also, equally good. But remember, you want to know what's your exit goal. Is this something that you want to leave in 3 to 5 years? Is this something you're maintaining long term? And SBA provides both sides of the table. You can get the variable rate under 7A, and then you can get the fixed option under SBA 504. So I would say those are some good capital stacks that you could work along with. The other one is if you don't want to do traditional financing, I would say work with your seller, right? Sometimes look, I'm a broker. I'd love to do the deal, but maybe your seller can offer some attractive financing for the next year or two. You glide through this volatile market, and then you come back and, you work up a proper deal with maybe a local lender, or you work with Brajesh or me or somebody on the table to get, some type of traditional financing.
Now, on that real quick, if you had a loan is it possible that you could get a loan for, say, like $3 million and you can break that into different properties, or you have to just use it all in one particular property?
So under the SBA, there's a $5 million cap, right? So you can do multiple acquisitions to meet that cap. in the 504 realm of worlds, all your dollars are not 100% exposed. Only 30% of your money's exposed. So yes, for a $3 million loan, you could have multiple assets. Sometimes a lender would like to cross-collateralize and put it under one loan, or they may want to separate it depending on how your ownership structure is or how your EIN and all that is set up, right? So, but absolutely, the $3 million can be absorbed either under one LLC for all properties or separate them, out accordingly.
And just to add to that, presenting the scenario is also as important. When it comes to independent hoteliers, the paperwork seems to lack the necessary, and so we provide a checklist to, all the potential borrowers, and it's very important to organize all the, be it the resume, be it the PFS, bank statements, get all the information put together so that, it makes everybody's life easier, including the lenders.
I would say you want to look at your local banks. So whichever town you're in, get to know your local banker. One of the things that's overlooked by a lot of the small independent hoteliers, they try to go to the big banks. The big banks are not interested in you, right? They've got to talk to people at Wall Street and get money from them. They've got to talk to big investors. Their deal size is in the 5 million and up range. What we're looking for as small hoteliers, we're looking for $1 million to $3 million, right? You've got family and friends. Don't forget about those guys. They can be your equity. So go talk to family and friends. Spread your risk. You get your equity. 30, 40% is good. That way you're not exposed that much. Don't take the 80-20 loan even if they give it to you, because as a small operator, you want to be able to go through these cycles, and they will be down cycles. So just be ready for that. Your paperwork, right? Debt service coverage ratio, right? That's important. People don't pay attention to this. I don't care what size property you have. If you can walk into a bank with the right paperwork and you can put in front of them to show them that you have been keeping records. I come across so many hotels every day, and we finance these all the time through regional banks and the local banks within our city. We don't have to go far. AAHOA has got a good reputation. If you're a member of AAHOA and you walk into a small bank and you let them know who you are, they will probably be ready to lend you money. But here's a few tips. They were talked about earlier, but not in the context of financing, right? Somebody said, get to know your local Rotary Club, get to know your local police department, get to know all those people. Why? Because you want to invite those people, you want to invite the bankers to the AAHOA Regional and the Town Hall. When you have an AAHOA Regional, tell your regional director that we want to invite our lenders and people who don't know about us, and call them in and talk to them about independent hoteliers. Talk to them about you, Mr. Patel, Mr. Bhakta, Mr. Dayal. Who are you? What do you do? What are your values? What do you stand for? Now when you walk into the bank or you take your brother, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle and say, this is what I've got, we've got this hotel we want to buy, and here's the paperwork, they're going to guide you. They're going to lend you the money.
Brandy, thank you very much. By the way, you answered 2 of my questions on here. So yeah, thanks for that. Anybody have any other questions? Oh, we got one more over there, Mr. MZ, please. Thank you, sir. Oh, one question here that I'll come to you.
Hello, how are you? We own the motel last 30 years. And we like to sell the property, but nobody, in case bank don't, the customer who buying is not coming with a bank loan. So if he sell the private person, what are the steps you will take in action?
First, I would get an attorney involved because are you talking about seller financing? Yeah, so you gotta figure out the terms that you're offering to your buyer, and then you would get an attorney involved and get the necessary promissory notes and title work and all that to.
So if they, in case they're in the bankrupt or something, the person not good in
Yeah,
intention. So what are the
that's where-
steps?
So when you
I-
get the attorney involved in the transaction, the attorney is going to prepare all the legal documentation, and they will also bring a title company to the team. And so the title company will make sure that all the mortgage, promissory note that's signed by the buyer gets recorded at your local county, so that you have a first lien, position, and you have a promissory note showing what the terms are, monthly payment, is it interest only, is it amortized over 20, 25 years, is it a 3-year term, is it a 5-year
No,
term?
no, I know that.
Yeah.
But do we have to take any personal responsibility from them? Yes or no?
You will take a personal guarantee,
That's what
which
I'm
will be
saying.
in the legal,
Personal responsibility,
promissory
right?
note and the
Because
mortgage note.
they're buying the property and sometimes they solve the
Well,
problem.
you will have 2 attorneys, one attorney representing you as a seller, and then the buyer will
Yeah, I
also
know.
have a attorney representing. So your attorney will make sure that all the T's and, are crossed on your end, that, you're covered on your side, right?
Thank you.
I'd like to add a little bit to that. So that's a fantastic question that you asked, and I think some add value there is there's 2 options in seller financing. So if you do seller financing and you give the buyer the title and the HUD, you got to minimum wait 2 years before you come to one of us on the table and get an SBA deal done. That's an SBA SOP, standard operating procedure. So you have to wait 24 months before that buyer can then officially take you out with traditional financing. Now, that's seller financing. If you do lease to purchase, which is the other option, then you can set it up to where 1 month later, 3 months later, 15 months later, it doesn't make a difference. You have your lease payments, right? And then, our crowd understands how to do seller credit on the HUD statement to account for the, not all interest payment. It could be principal P&I. So that way you still are able to sell your property, not render any capital gains, right away, and still earn interest on the deal and be able to sell your hotel and come to one of us on the table or whoever, if you have an SBA lender or traditional lender, to come in and say, oh, it's a lease to purchase, let me take this guy out. You don't have to wait the 24-month statutory limit.
The sell, when you,
Yes,
When
either
you-
either route, I would 100% make sure, like Brajesh Bhai said, get an attorney, scrutinize on your purchase sale agreement, make sure you have allocations against your goodwill, FF&E, and real estate. More that's attributed towards real estate, you get a better appraisal value or better loan amount. Anything that's gone to goodwill or any of the other ones, it's less leverage, right? Real estate gets 85%, FF&E gets 15%, and goodwill 0%, right?
but right now you have your low revenue, and after lease it, if they increase the price, though, how we gonna fix the price for the?
You got to do it from the beginning.
Huh?
You got to do it from the beginning.
Right,
You got to set your purchase price from the beginning.
from the beginning, right?
Yeah, you won't be able to get both sides of it, right? Because what if they drop the revenue? It doesn't, it could go both ways. So
So better.
if you lock in the price, it's better.
We're locking the price from the first beginning, right?
But also you want to make sure, just because you locked in a price, your numbers have to support the financing, the last 3 years of performance of the motel.
Right.
Just because you locked in a price, because what
Yeah.
we've seen in independent is the seller will say, oh, the room revenue is 400, but 75,000 is off the books. So the buyer is giving you,
Right.
in theory, price for 475 room revenue. But at 475, multiple of 2, 2.5, 3, it may not cash flow at because your room revenue is only 400 on the paper.
Yeah.
So that's very important, especially on the independent side.
Thank you.
MZ, we got one more question over there, please. Or Mike, thank you. Thank you, Mike. This is good. I don't have to do nothing.
This question is more about the risk perceived by the banks or the SBA for lending to the independent hotels versus the franchise hotels. Can you just talk about that? I'm relatively new to this. So how does the bank or the SBA sees lending to an independent hotel versus a franchise hotel? How can even we mitigate some of those risks, please? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think Mr. Dayal said it earlier, like, look, get your paperwork in play, right? I think whether it's us or you're going to your bank, get your resume, your PFS, 3 years tax return, affiliates, because not only are they underwriting the DSCR from the subject property, which you need to be about 1.25, there are a lot of SBA lenders that will work sub 1, but then the rate goes up, right? So you got to give a little to get little. To get a little, you got to give a little, right? And for that, if your paperworks are in duck, yeah, there's a stigma, right? That, franchise is a better opportunity. The lender understands it, the clientele understands it. But, I think along with the independent hoteliers, you guys have more stories to tell in SBA, and SBA is known to be kind of a storyline type deal, right? To say, hey, why do I want to finance this independent property? The other thing that I would really recommend independent hoteliers to do during their process of getting lending is getting a STAR report. I know you guys don't submit to STAR, but having one of those updated STAR reports, one of your friends, family, next door neighbor, friend, whoever, right, at the volleyball field, hey, get me a STAR report, right? It's $350. Get it. It helps you on your multi-million-dollar asset to refinance, acquire. It helps the other person on the desk who's the lender understand what's happening in the comp set, right? So those type of documents, preset, prefabricated, along with a pro forma business plan, the things that we said earlier, is extremely crucial in justifying who you are in front of us or to the bank directly, right? So having those type of things in play makes a big difference.
I'd add to that, the appraisal is very important, right? When an appraiser knows what's going on at your property or what's going on around you, and the STAR report comes to play there, the appraiser is going to be looking at that. The appraiser is also going to be looking at market trends. They're going to be looking at your financials. They're going to be looking at your personal financials, right? So let's say you're an engineer and you now decide you want to be a hotelier. They're going to look at what your income and what your ability to support that property is, if in case you default. So you have to look at all sources. Sometimes people forget about that $100,000 CD they put, and we talked about PFS, your personal financial statement. What do you have? What do you own? Right? That's important. And what do you owe to others? There's been cases which we've handled where people have actually gone and faced jail time for bank fraud because the bank came back years later and SBA said, when you came to us and financed your hotel, you didn't tell us that you got $50,000 from your cousin. So be careful of those things. You need an expert to help you with these, right? So not only are they underwriting the property itself, they're looking also at the cash flow. They're looking at that property to see what are your bankings looking like. They're going to ask you for bank statements, right? And you need an intermediary to help you. You need an attorney to help you. You need somebody who understands the process of applying, somebody who acquires loans. So there are two things here that you need to understand. On the one side, you have people who will help you navigate getting your loan. On the other side, you have the lender, right? So those are two different tracks. You can go directly to a lender and get direct financing, your local bank, etc. Or you can go to an intermediary who's going to place your loan somewhere, right? And they know who's lending. They know what those requirements are, and they're going to help you with that. Getting your paperwork together, submitting your loan, telling your story, right? That's important. What is your story? Why do you want to be in the hotel business? What is your experience? If you walk off the street and say, hey, I want to be a hotelier, they're not going to look at you, right? But if you can say, hey, I've worked in the hotel sweeping floors, then I did this and I did that, and now I want to be an owner. There are many, many hoteliers in Houston that I have worked with who started out as a front desk clerk, right? Today they own multiple hotels. Some of them are in this room, and they're at this convention. Some of them are even high up in this convention, right? And in this organization. So you can start at the bottom, get your paperwork in order, tell your story, don't hide your money under the mattress, put it in the bank, right? Pay your taxes on that, and let the bank see what you're worth.
And to add to that, your original question, yes, lenders do look at hospitality as a little bit of a higher risk than some of the other commercial asset type due to the nature of the business, which is it's very cyclical. It's tied to the economy. when there's a recession, hotels tend to suffer more than some of the other asset types compared to, when there's growth, obviously hotels perform better. And going back to independent versus franchise hotel, the lenders have a lot more information on those brands, be it Choice, Wyndham, and whatnot. And they know that when you're affiliated with the brand, there's policies and procedures and checks and balances in place. And so that brings a lot more comfort to the lender. And also as a worst case scenario from a lending standpoint, if we were to go under, there's a good possibility of the existing lender finding somebody from their existing network of borrowers who may have a higher probability of taking over a franchise hotel compared to if it was a small, independent, no-name brand motel. So even, from their perspective, it's a less of a risk for them to lend to a branded hotel compared to independent.
The other thing is know your facts, right? Know your facts about your local market, because it comes down to local, right? Don't look at the nation, look at your local market. There was a downturn in 2008. There was not a single hotel that was under 40 rooms that was available for sale or did not make their payment. We went to the banker to go finance a property, and the banker said to us, all the hotels are failing, and we said, correction. The independent hotels are not failing. The franchises are failing. They're over-leveraged. Our people live at the property. It's their primary residence, and their kids go to school from here. Now, here's a challenge for you, Mr. Banker. If you can find any hotel that is a motel, independent, that is under 40, 50 rooms, that is going under, I have 10 buyers for you. Please find them and bring all those properties to us. And the lender turned around and said, there are no such hotels. So in our local market, we were able to fund even in 2008. So know your local market, go to your lenders and educate them. It's all about education. We are here to get an education. We would like to share our stories with you. You'll see us afterwards. You'll see us all the time. There'll be a QR code up here. Sign up on that QR code. It's not only to win that the bottle of scotch. That's just an enticement. The QR code that we have up there is so that you can keep in touch with this committee and we can bring you more information. You can ask questions all the time. We keep hearing about fair franchising and all of that. What are we doing about it? I'm glad to see so many of you in this room because it shows that you guys are interested in going back to the future. Back to the future is using technology, becoming independent, right? You don't have to be a slave to somebody else, right? Nothing wrong with the business model of a franchise hotel. I own them. I have interests in them, but I love the independent hotels. Why? Because you can do all the things that Brandy is doing. You can go out there and blaze trails. You can put purple flags outside your property if you love to do that. Nobody's going to stop you from doing that, right? But at the same time, there's a business to be had. There's independent properties that can stand out. You know, there's a property at Grand Canyon as an example. I was told this the other day, and I was shown the picture, and it was just simple. All their art inside their hotel reflected the Grand Canyon area and things to do, right? You can't do that if you have a franchise. You have to keep going back to some guy who's going to send it to some guy to go and get it approved.
Good. Anybody else have any other questions? Good Lord, this has been awesome. Oh, over here. Oh, Mike, thank you, sir. Mike, please pass the mic.
Thank you. Just one thing I wanted to say is, you know, the biggest problem we have in independence is liquidity. And, you know, that's where a lot of these questions are coming from. And what's hard to get into is hard to exit, meaning when we go to sell, if the only option people has is SBA, it becomes not only harder to sell, but our value's less. So the more that we can do to, you know, encourage bankers to get on board with independence, the more liquidity that comes to the market, the higher our values are when we go to exit. And when that local lender says, hey, I'm not going to do it unless you have a brand, Well, for those of us in the room that have sizable deposits, we have power too when we have those deposits. And I would just say, hey, I really appreciate it. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to get this deal done and financed, and it can't be with the brand. And, I'll have to take my deposits with me. And those conversations may change if we start pushing back on all those local lenders and try to take our deposits with the bankers that want to do business with us. That's the only thing I want to say. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have anything else? Well, I've got a couple questions. Oh, we got one over here. Thanks, MZ.
Hi, thank you. So I was curious about seasonal markets and how independent hotels can work in that in terms of financing. Are there any recommendations or vehicles that you suggest for getting funding for that, specifically if it's a mixed-use property?
Interesting.
So years ago, there were a lot of properties that had interesting financing arrangements with their bankers. And you still find them on the coast. You find them in resort areas. What you do is you go into your bank and you negotiate, right? You set out your, and we've been part of one of these. It was on the beach. Right throughout the winter season, there was nobody there, right? So what happened is we went into the bank, we discussed what our situation was, showed them what our cash flow was. It was tremendous during the summer, made a lot of money during the summer. So what we did is we had them increase our payments during the summer and got them almost down to nothing during the winter. So for 6-7 months, we had almost double payments. We could afford much more than that. The other thing you can do is you can offer to put some of that cash into reserve just in case you don't, right? So today you can get good money, you can get good interest on money, cash. But if you don't get that, you can put it into a CD with a bank and say, look, we're going to deposit this $100,000 with you. It's going to make the payment over the next 6 months, right? So you got to get creative. You got to tell your story. And yeah, there are different ways to do it. I'm sure they'll be able to help us.
Yeah.
One of the other things I would suggest is make a spreadsheet for last 3 years, monthly ADR and occupancy. So that will visualize, the bank can visually see the monthly revenues, occupancy, ADR. And they'll be more supportive of helping you come up with a payment plan. Or the other thing also you can do is do a 6 months interest only when you buy something, and then put that extra money that you would have if it was a principal and interest into a reserve account. So that 6 months of principal that you're saving in a reserve account, that can get you through the winter months, and then do the same thing for the following year. Because I think usually the first year is where you're going to learn about the business and really get a feel for what the cash flow looks like based on your operations compared to the previous. But first year interest only is another option.
Yeah, just really quick update on that. It would be a ground up, so it would be complete construction for that. So if there isn't any previous records or statements, how would you go about doing it then?
Then you have to build up a solid reserve in your construction budget. So, if you feel you're going to take 12 months to ramp up, I would go ahead and, give it 18 or 24 months. It's better to over-prepare than, go looking for cash, in a panic situation.
Yeah, I would add on to that. If it's a development, you want to make sure your interest reserve is there. You also want to add in a 10% contingency based on the hard cost, not on the total project. Because when you add those things in, it really gives you the full picture of your project. It also lets the lender know that you're understanding where the numbers are. And don't be afraid of interest or contingency. At the end of the day, it is not a forced loan on you, right? If you end up, your general contractor reduces the cost to build, or your time frame reduces, right? If we get lucky. But if by chance, then that money gets credited back to you, right? Either they reduce your principal, or you can get it, turned around as working capital or something towards your operation of the business. So I would agree, have your business plan, consider your interest reserve, consider your contingency, and there's a form by the GC that would fill out, I forget the exact form name, but they're supposed to give you that, and that's what you can give to the bank for them to fill out, their terms out overall.
That's awesome. I think in the interest of time, can we give these fine gentlemen a hand? If you guys would do me a favor, because we ran a little bit over, if you guys could stick around, I'm sure these guys will have questions to ask you personally. We have food set up over there and a bar set up over there, but stay right there real quick. Very important, guys. First of all, I want to say thank you. AAHOA's never done this before, and to see you guys all here on the bottom of our Independent Hoteliers Committee's hearts, we thank you. There is a QR code. We want to make this better. We want to make this bigger. So please, I'm going to leave that slide up there. So when you get time, like mingle, mix, but fill out that survey, please. It'll only take you a couple of minutes. Let's thank our sponsors. Let's give them a big round of applause for our sponsors. And speaking of sponsors, AAHOA has some really big news, right, Miss Sarah? Yes. Mr. Ralph, if you don't mind coming on and announcing some big news.
Oh, you have one question.
Can you ask that privately? Yeah.
Actually, I have a question for the whole room.
Well, okay, just 1 second. I'll get it to you as soon as Ralph does it. Yeah, no problem.
First off, how about a hand for the chair of our Independent Hoteliers Committee? He's an inspiration to me. His committee members are an inspiration to me, and it inspires me to be able to see that there are so many people looking at all the options in this great industry of ours, and that please plan on hearing a lot more for independent hoteliers in the months and years to come. It's my great honor to introduce Sarah and her team with the team with Book It and Go. If you guys want to come up here, we are really excited that I think it may have today. This is like hot off the press news. So Book It and Go is an organization that has a good story to tell for the people in this room. I'll let them tell that story. So without further ado, I'll let you guys talk about what's new and happening with AAHOA and Book It and Go.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. We will go very, very quickly. I know there's food and drinks going on over there, and you've been here a very long time. Just give us a couple of minutes. I'm Sarah Ely with Book It and Go, and we have some exciting news that we have just now have a strategic partnership with AAHOA. We are an OTA. Everybody cringe. There we go. Exactly. We are a new OTA that's working strategically with you and with AAHOA. To really forge into the future. I also want to introduce my co-founder, Aman Mohindra.
Thank you guys. Just really a quick couple minutes. We stand here today to see you guys as our partners and as our community, our own community. And we want to take the dread out of this OTA business once and for all of our AAHOA members. We are very, very thankful that this independent hoteliers session is where we start and where we start to work with you guys. We are at booth 1218. Please come and see us. We want to talk to you more about how we can work together to bring low commissions to you guys, bring more business to you guys. We're doing a lot of innovations in terms of technology that will drive more revenue, more customers to you guys, and keep your customers happy. We spent a good amount of session today, which was very informative about how to use a lot of marketing strategies to do, drive business to your hotels. And I can only imagine that it's very overwhelming for a lot of you guys. So we are going to dedicate a bunch of resources to help you guys towards some of those marketing needs, some of those marketing resources. This partnership, this announcement is really only the beginning of what we like to do with you guys. This is where we start. We need your help, we need your support, and we need your input. And we are here to support you with resources, marketing, and to even eventually negotiate better terms with other OTAs, which you guys have been trying to do for a really long time. So whatever we could do to support this community and especially our independent hoteliers, this is our third year at AAHOA. We have been listening to you. We have been building our technology and our stack and our team around primarily your guys' needs. And we want to continue to do that ongoing with you guys' support. So definitely looking forward to this partnership. Very, very thankful to the AAHOA executive team and everybody who supported us through this. A lot of names here have been big supporters. We got a lot of support from Vipul and his team and everybody else. So we're very thankful to all of you guys. And we look forward to next 3 days and working with you and seeing you at our booth. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The reason why I had you guys stay on is because we have one more question. Oh God, here we go.
Well, thank you for taking my last question. How come all of a sudden, if not all over the nation, at least in state of Texas, it's almost impossible to get insurance for independent property? What happened all of a sudden?
Insurance. Good question. Can you guys handle insurance questions?
Hurricane.
Yeah.
Hurricanes, fires, all the natural Mother Earth situations.
Yeah.
For example, the 40-room property, I used to pay $12,000 annually insurance, and I end up paying for year 2024 $67,000.
Ooh. I think everybody has the same problem. Quick thing on that. I don't sit on the whole board. I used to a long time ago, but I know MZ could probably speak about this. MZ and the other board members, Mike, there's an independent committee that's just for insurance purposes. And MZ, please give us an update on that.
Hi. I know, guys, my name is MZ. I'm Mid-Atlantic Regional Director. And I know your insurance thing, we are working on it. And I think it will be, our chairman should announce soon. We are a couple of insurance companies we are working on right now. I cannot say what he's talking about, but it will be like in a conference, our chairman will announce something.
So it doesn't work. So what he's saying is that we recognize it's an issue. We see that it's an issue. Oh, wait, hold on, Mike. We see that it's an issue, and I want to say that these guys are actively working on it. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
So adding to that, we are definitely working hard because I have same issue also what you have. So within 6 months we have result for that. The same way other issue we were talking about the SBA loan. We just introduced in the history of AAHOA. AAHOA introduced the new bill to become 504, $5 million to $10 million. And that's a great news. So thank you for all of you. And so last advocacy, we went there and we introduced the bill. If it passes, it will become the law. Thank you.
There you go. And with that, thank you very much for coming.